Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and welcome to the channel where I talk about brand new multiplayer gaming experiences to share with your friends or maybe jump in and make some enemies, as is especially the case with this list. This is going to be my most hyped, most exciting, upcoming, best new shooter, massively multiplayer online games. Yeah, so shooter and MMOs don't actually really go together. If you look at the true MMO FPSs, for example, we pretty much only have Planetside 2, and that's sort of like a lower player count niche game itself, and that's really kind of the atlas of the whole genre. We don't got too many more, if they even exist. So yeah, it's pretty exciting that I'm actually able to even make a list of 5 games that really genuinely look exciting. Some of them already been on a few list videos, some will continue to be on more list videos coming up, so yeah, I'm excited to play these games, I'm excited to try them, and I'm just genuinely enthusiastic that the MMO genre is emerging this brand new subgenre, or I mean, it's been old, but finally it's becoming proper in AAA, and the production is there that we can actually finally have good FPS gameplay and content in an open, persistent world where I can really just shoot a bunch of people in the face all at the same time, you know? That's gonna be some good stuff. But no, for real, I think a lot of these games offer something really unique compared to any other game, even within the MMO genre. So yeah, let's keep the hype alive. Here's my top 5. Okay, so starting out the list, we have The Day After, which is a pretty obvious one because I've mentioned it a couple times already. You might have been hearing about it a lot, and I think mainly because it just looks good, and it's a topic, a subject that's been broached quite often, you know, in survival games, single-player games, TV, movie, media, everything. It's zombie survival, post-apocalyptic. Even the name The Day After is basically just a rip from one of the most famous zombie movies of all time. So I really do, though, appreciate the just solid groundwork that's been laid here, right? It's just, yeah, it is copy-paste, basically. But then, how many European fantasy MMOs have you played? Yeah, sometimes, though, it allows you to get, you know, boots on the ground, hit the ground running, and I really appreciate that because this game is focusing on all the nuanced gameplay mechanics, the graphics, the subtlety, the immersion, and it's really all about just putting you into the shoes of a character that is in this universe, in this world of post-apocalyptic zombie survival. PvEVP, that's what I want. I know there's some survival games out there, 7 Days to Die is co-op, cool, neat. DayZ exists, sure, I guess, but in the end those aren't full MMOs, or maybe debatably just barely, kind of, sort of, not true MMORPGs, and then at the same time they're janky, sometimes they're ugly, sometimes they're awkward, it's a little strange to get into, but I really think The Day After is hitting a lot of sweet spots to make it more open to a mass audience, a massively multiplayer audience, and then also still be, you know, immersive enough and, you know, that AAA oozing the spectacle of it all that's kind of gonna glaze over the gameplay that I really need compared to a lot of the janky survival zombie games and just really just the jank of general MMOs. It's really cool to see an upcoming MMO that looks like basically, I don't know, a Sony produced game. It looks freaking sweet. Really appreciate that. Can't wait to try out The Day After. Next up, we have Will to Live, which is already in early access and has been out for a little bit, but it was, for its first year of being out in early access, was kind of janky, and I don't just want to spam you guys with early access games, but this is still a newer game that's really under the radar, that has really good reviews, and I think overall, after its first year of early access, it's now in a playable state. I need to jump into this game and jam way more to it, but if you guys want to play with me, join my Discord, links in the description. But yeah, Will to Live, I think, is pretty straight freaking forward, especially since we were just talking about The Day After. Yeah, so there's mutants, there's an open world, run, loot, shoot. It is free to play though, that is a super big boon to the game. Now this is a Russian design game, and actually I've played a few of these type of titles. Will to Live is the only one that actually has above mixed reviews, even in early access. So many of these stalker-ish games have come out, and we even have another one on the list, but this is the one that I think is probably going to be the entry point to most people, especially being free, and especially allowing itself to be early access, allowing it to be tested, and already, again, still having mostly positive reviews. So if you played a game similar to this, well, you kind of know what I'm saying, right? But Will to Live is an MMO RPG with shooter mechanics, kind of mutants, stalker, PvP, nothing too fancy, but at the same time, just the fact that it is an FPS in an MMO setting is a little bit special. Let's go ahead and try it out. Okay, yeah, next up we have Pioner. Pioneer, not Pioneer, unless it's meant to be, but it's Pioneer. So Pioneer actually seems so much like Will to Live, but this one is going to be a bit more big, if that's a way to describe it. Pioneer has like definitely more closely associated to like what I would say AAA graphics are, It looks really good. The detail is insanely, well, detailed. And then the monster design, the world design, the encounter design, the game itself, while it looks, yes, like a Russian or, yeah, survival FPS, this is weirder. It's got, like, it's going a little bit extra. You know, it's paranormal, it's alienish, it's very out there. And I think this one makes it a little bit extra special even. So yeah, while Will to Live might be something that's, you know, with mutants and everything, a little bit more grounded, and of course being free to play, this one seems like this is, like, if this can get the funding, which it hasn't even done a crowdfunded yet, I don't even think it's really even broadcasting to a global audience. It's really just focused on its home country, I believe, home region at least. I think that when this game gets out into the public, whenever, you know, it jumps into Steam early access or whatever, and it comes to the West, I think this is going to be the game that gets really big on Twitch. You know, a lot of people are going to be playing it, and I think it's something that's really special and unique. And I think it has this sort of retro vibe to it in a way, at least with its aesthetics and monster design, that reminds me of, like, if Stranger Things, if the whole world was like, you know, everything went weird and wobbly with all the paranormal bullshit, and then like post-apocalyptic paranormal bullshit. That's it. You know, it's not zombies, it's not just radioactivity, it's whatever, again, bullshit is happening here, and I haven't seen it before. I want to live in this world. I want to explore it. And yeah, it being an MMO, we can all explore it together and shoot each other over stuff, floating jellyfish, alien monsters. Yeah, okay, that sounds pretty neat. There's going to be raids and stuff like that. So it is a proper MMORPG with progression. I can't wait. I'm going to have to wait. It's going to take a long time for this game to come out. But hey, now you know it exists. Next on the list, we have Foxhole, which I believe now has the subtitle Entrenched. So yeah, anyways, Foxhole is kind of a unique game because the isometric gameplay view. Now I'm just going to immediately tell you that this still counts as a shooter, 100%. There's still aim-based mechanics, and there is still sight lines and stuff like that. Obviously, you are still using guns, tanks, things like that, but it is isometric, and I will tell you, it is definitely more of a strategy shooter, and then it comes into more of a tactical shooter whenever you are actually in the fights. Now, why is this a big freaking deal? Because this changes the way the game is played. Normally, in a game like Planetside 2, you can just run and gun, jump in, and obviously the game is more fun when you play with people and you can be more effective, but Foxhole, it is a requirement. You will have people who you need to communicate with in order to even see, because the view angles are limited. Not only that, but you do need to communicate in order to actually use resources, gather resources, and crew them together and use them in order to spawn tanks, in order to build certain structures. You need to literally work together for the strategy, and I would also say the tactics of this game. And then, of course, mechanically, again, with the viewpoints, with the aiming and everything, this might be one of the truest team-based or cooperative shooters that I've ever seen. And of course, it is clearly competitive as well. Faction versus faction. It is a world war simulator type of game. It is still arcade in many ways. It's not a pure simulation like you would expect, like a DayZ or whatever. Yeah, I get it, but the roleplay is kind of real in this game. The cooperation, the collaboration with literally communication. Like, you need to get in Discord, you need to use voice chat, you need to absorb yourself within the guilds and the teams, you know, inside of the different squads in Foxhole, and this game will come to life. This is one of the most socially required and focused MMO that I've ever played. Yes, I did actually check it out, but so much has changed, you know, recently, but I can't wait to actually jump back in. This game is still in early access. You can buy into it. Niche game, abso-freaking-lutely, but it is a really special experience that is true to the MMO genre, that I really think you guys should give a shot for. Even though it's weird, if you love MMOs and you love making friends in MMOs, this might be one that you really should give a shot. Ooh, it's kind of punny because we're talking about shooter games. Give it a shot. Yeah. And the final game to talk about is going to be Starbase. Starbase is a fantastic title that I think is going to have a wealth of options for those who like shooting people in the face. If it's going to be different types of spaceships that you completely customize, if it's going to be on foot, I want to say like boots on the ground, except there's no ground, but like, you know, the vacuum of space, jumping into corridors, a lot of different varieties of space warfare combat, and of course the different varieties of guns, and then even with that, different roles of breaching. You know, who is the breacher, who's the person who's, because the game is like voxel based, like you can destroy pieces of ships all together, so you're breaking apart the doors. Who's the one who actually breaches and runs in? Who is maybe like the infiltrator? Who is going to be snipers? Things like that. A lot of different unique situations are going to arise because of the three-dimensionality of the combat of this game, as well as how you break apart different pieces of ships, ship-to-ship combat, ship-to-station combat, ship-to-infantry combat, all that good stuff. I love mixed combat, and normally we only see that inside of like Planetside 2. Even in like, you know, sieging-based MMORPGs, that doesn't really exist. So Starbase has me super duper excited. No other game on this list really is going to do it justice compared to, you know, the different vehicles and stuff like that. On top of the vehicle combat though, not only is it going to be like unique with how each ship handles, it really goes deeper than that with like how you customize it, specifically how even which buttons are programmed to fire off different engines or different weapons is all based on the sort of blueprinters or the designers, the crafters mind, you know? So there's going to be people who are prized inside of guilds for literally coming up with blueprint ideas and concepts. And there's even going to be people who are salvaging, you know, you win a war and you see that somebody had a really awesome fighter. So you have to actually kind of, I don't know, reverse engineer it so then you can actually piece it together, or you can repair it and, you know, throw everything on. So yeah, everything is sort of like fucking Legos. Like you build piece by piece, you also break piece by piece. You have to program everything together, but then everything, all of that strategy tied in together is going to make the combat incredibly exciting, deep, and rich. Also, though, it kind of makes it a little bit slower paced, according to those who are already in the early access. Yeah, this game is going to replace EVE when it comes to politics. It's also not going to replace, I think, Planetside 2 when it comes to just run and gun, jump in, because it is a slower paced game. But for those who actually do guild up, you know, squad up and play in these giant 3D space station invasion, fucking warfare epicosities, yeah, that's probably going to be a unique experience that no other game is ever going to give you, which is pretty freaking cool. So I'm looking really forward to Starbase. I hope this game can actually promote itself a little bit more and get a bigger audience. So because the more players that play this game, the faster it is going to be, you know, to jump into and get into these star fights and, you know, these sieges. And I really want to play that myself. Hope you guys do too. Let's all jump in together. But yay, now you know about the probably the best 5 upcoming new shooter MMO. No, it's a pretty niche genre, but there it is. You know, it's what I'm excited for. I think you probably found something new, at least because these games are very new. We normally just get Euro fantasy MMORPGs, so this is pretty exciting stuff. You can definitely see a lot of the, you know, the inspiration of survival games and zombie, you know, culture, sure, whatever, but in the end, there's a couple here that I think are gonna really surprise us. I guess the main ones that I want to shout out for in terms of uniquity is gonna be Pioner, as well as Starbase. Holy crap. But all these games are probably gonna have something to offer, and some of them are definitely more assured successes than others. Like Will to Live is already doing pretty good, so yeah, even early access, definitely want to jump into. But much love, friends and family. All I can ask is you keep the hype alive, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I will see you again next time.